Good morning. Welcome, everybody. I'm Jose Saavedra, Chief Medical Officer for Nestlé Nutrition here in Switzerland. So first of all, welcome to everybody. We very much appreciate all of you being here for what we think is will be a very interesting and very special event as it relates to the content of the meeting itself and the speakers that we have today. I also want to welcome the more than 3,000 registrants to our webcast, which is being webcast live as we speak. Ultimately, more and more, we will be talking to people, colleagues, and other stakeholders in this fashion. So welcome to everybody. As I think most of you are aware, Nestlé is dedicated to bettering the lives of people through nutrition, health, and wellness. And we do know that ultimately nutrition to deliver health and deliver wellness to society requires, among other things, healthy growth and development in early life. And for that to happen, we need an adequate intake of food, or what most of us call a diet. Now, a diet doesn't happen by chance. Ultimately, the diet is the consequence of behaviors. These behaviors, for which we have a wonderful opportunity in infancy, because infants are fed, they don't yet eat by themselves, gives us probably what is and what I consider one of the largest opportunities we have to make things better for future generations. Nestlé obviously is and has been committed for 150 years to delivering a very safe and increasingly accessible food supply across the world and everywhere around the globe. One of our major commitments is to make those food choices and possibilities for parents, for consumers, and for healthcare providers the best possible choices. But ultimately, we're increasingly recognizing that it's not just about making safe food, and that ultimately food has to be eaten. And early in life, we have the opportunity to begin shaping what the future diets of our society is going to be. And for that in mind, we decided to dedicate this particular Nestlé Nutrition Institute workshop to the topic of education. And we certainly have some ideas of what it is we should educate around nutrition. We have ideas of who our stakeholders should be, including parents and consumers and healthcare providers and people working in public health. And we also are increasingly aware that the amount of nutrition education that happens for any of those, whether it's consumers and whether it's healthcare professionals, and how sometimes rather pathetic the amount and the quality of nutrition education is we receive in areas of medicine or clinical nutrition and so on, and is relatively few people who go on to dedicate to understanding what and how it is that we can modify ultimately the diets. And lastly, and I think this is one of the commitments that also comes from Nestlé's heritage, is the understanding that the greatest opportunity we have is in early life. And we fully espouse the concept of putting increasing effort, increasing work, increasing research in the first 1,000 days of life. Ultimately, the way things are shaped for later life, and I'm a strong believer of that, not because I'm pediatrically biased, but because I think the data increasingly shows that the earlier we intervene, the bigger chance we have of making a difference. So this meeting is dedicated to the understanding of how we need to begin working towards education in a way that is much more systematic, that is much more strategic, that is much more based and rooted in science and not simply in experience. And that ultimately those behavior adoptions, we also have the benefit that parents don't need to change behavior, because when a first baby is born, there's no behavior to change yet. And the adoption of behavior gives us an additional opportunity to intervene in ways that we couldn't at other times of life. So with those thoughts, and with the hope that we make this a very interactive and very motivating meeting, not only for those who are here, but certainly for those who are also online. I leave you, and I hope that most of you both teach and learn as part of the process of education during this meeting. It is my pleasure to introduce to you Dr. Natalia Wagaman, head of the Nestlé Nutrition Institute, to kick off the meeting. Thank you very much.